You talked about a second strategy that you guys have employed. That's this idea of automation and or process improvement, process reengineering. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's actually something that I'd like to use customer examples, just real world companies. We target companies, between 5,500. That's our sweet spot. But we
Between
have
50 and 500
employees rather. Yeah. And so that's very SMB, very real world. Your listeners are really in that pocket.
Yep.
I would say. And so we're a good example of that. We're less than 500 folks at TechScape. So once the pandemic hit and once the shutdown happened, we chose to focus inside and look at what operational efficiencies we can create. One of the things one of the strategies that worked pretty well was just widening folks' scope. You don't have the commute any longer. Or we were typically not a fully virtual company. We do have physical offices in 3 locations, but winning back that time and repurposing some folks that maybe aren't going to be as busy, like for instance our procurement department. Our procurement folks aren't shipping a heck of a lot of boxes during a global shutdown, right, where logistics just becomes super challenging. So grabbing some of those cycles and finding ways to create some automation within the sales funnel and the sales channel, that was a net improvement. And also better analytics and reporting for our customers was another sort of net improvement that was put into play. Now, the reason I mentioned the automation and operational efficiencies is that, again, we accomplished more with less people, because we did lose a couple of folks after we went into shutdown mode. A couple of folks who were not essential to the business, so we did have less staff to deal with the day-to-day problems in certain areas. Now, obviously, that wasn't in the engineering. We're actually hiring engineers, but we had some administrative support that was no longer going to be with the company. So how do you continue to be productive? How do you create, automated ways to accomplish the same task? It took a little bit of investment in getting some developers on board to create some, using some BI tools, creating some better reporting, like I had mentioned. But now it runs itself, and now it just takes one person, where it typically would be a team of 3 to accomplish the same goal. So it's really about like taking the time to really look internally at every piece of your operation to maximize what you can do with very little. And I know it sounds super Captain Obvious. I really, but I've seen the net effect, and it's amazing what you can accomplish in a down economy where people are worried about having a job. Anyway,
give me 1 second. There's somebody in my doorway. I'm just gonna.
Yeah, sure. Do your thing. Roll back. Roll back.
No, yeah, we won't need to roll back. I'm just gonna pick it up right from there.
I'm gonna have to edit that out because I belched, I think, into the mic.
No, we're going to leave that on. In fact, we're going to just play that in a continuous loop for 45 minutes. So, all right. So I'm going to pick it. I'm going to pick it up where you said you used the term Captain Obvious because I like that. So you said you didn't want to be Captain Obvious. Yeah, I actually couldn't disagree with you more because I think very often that's exactly what we need to be. Because I think sometimes we, especially in these times of stress and challenge, we tend to lose perspective a little bit. And I think one of the things we've done a good job of, and I've seen some of our clients do a good job of at this point in time, is take advantage of this time to do exactly what you were talking about. Relook at some of these processes and figure out, how do I automate this? Or there's another term I like to use called operationalization. Like, how do we operationalize something we're trying to do? So I'll give you a good example. We have a client that's ISO 27001 certified. They're a great firm. They do video teleconferencing services, managed white glove stuff. They do, what would you call it? Telemedicine, right? In a really elegant way. What they did during this time is that they looked at the way that they were running their ISO 27001 management system and took a little bit of time, broke it down into some processes, and actually used their help desk ticketing system to operationalize that, to automate that. So now there's, let's say 48 things that need to happen during the year. Those tickets are going to trigger every year at the right week, right month, right quarter to make that happen automatically. We did the same thing with our ISO 27001 management system using Wrike. We use a project management tool. So we actually converted our our ISO 27001 management system into a Wrike project plan. Which means that it's just going to happen, right? And if it doesn't happen, everybody knows, and you've got mechanisms to keep it afloat. So I think what this type of stuff that you're talking about doing is really important. And I do think it isn't a Captain Obvious. It's a smart thing to do.